Hey everyone, welcome to another series of AMAs. And today we have Chris Walker, who is the founder of Future of SEO. And he's an amazing dude who has been doing great stuff with SEO. And you see him on the internet dropping value bombs whenever you kind of scroll your Facebook feed. And Chris today agreed to do an AMA or kind of a podcast with us answering your questions about SEO, AI, and content. So Chris is with us, and without taking much time, let's get into it and let's introduce Chris. Chris, thank you so much for coming in, and it's a pleasure. And yeah,
All right, happy to
we
be
can
here.
start with kind of
Thanks for having me.
thank you so much, and we can have your journey, so we know that where you came from, and we can make it a bomb. Thank you.
I started. Well, let me just start from the beginning. I was working in a job as a tech support person for a real estate company, and I wasn't making the kind of money I wanted. I wasn't happy. So instead of doing my job, I was surfing around on the internet for ways to make some money. And I came across a blog post that talked about affiliate marketing, and then I kind of got into that. And that led me to one course to another course, which got me into client SEO and to affiliate SEO and just doing a little bit of everything. And then eventually I got into doing freelance services, and that really took off for me. And from there, I was able to grow my business, Superstar SEO, and create a big group and a YouTube channel and following that from there. And then eventually, and I won't get into all the details, but that eventually led me to making Legit, which is kind of like my main platform now. And it's not just SEO, but there's a lot of SEO there because that was where a lot of my following came from. And yeah, that's taken off. It's been around for about 5.5 years now. So we've been able to help a lot of agencies, a lot of freelancers, and a lot of people that need and do SEO. So that's kind of the quick 1 minute version of how we got here.
Got it. Yeah, that's a great journey, and like the where you came from and why you started it, shows us that how long term your vision is for SEO and why is it important, right? Because we have seen a lot of people who say SEO is dead, which is again they're saying it since 10 years, but it's never going to be dead. We all know
Right.
that. So that's amazing. Thank you so much for the introduction,
Oh, no
and
problem.
we have some burning questions. Of course, number one being the scope of SEO in the upcoming years, right? We know that AI has come in and even Google is banking upon some stuff. So, everyone wants to know from you your perspective of what is going to be and what's going to happen and what are you going to do about shifting your website, shifting your client stuff and upgrading your SEO, tech stack, and what strategies are you going to implement so like people can understand, and even if they can take a little bit of inspiration and go back home and apply it their own projects, it will be helpful for them. So we wanted to know your take on everything happening.
So of course, anything I say will just be opinion. Anybody that says they know
Of course.
is lying. Basically, nobody knows for sure. One thing I've seen a lot is a lot of people already aren't using content writers anymore. They're using AI or chatgpt or whatever tool they're using. And I think that's going to continue for quite some time. But I think also we're going to reach a point when it's going to circle back around and content writers will become more valuable again because AI content, and maybe it'll get better over the years, but I have a feeling that it's always going to be kind of soulless. And what I mean by that is when you read it, it has all the facts, but it reads like a Wikipedia page most of the time. And it's not engaging and it doesn't sell and it won't be able to replace the human touch. And I think that will create a better demand for really talented writers and for content editors. So I see that being kind of the cycle as far as content goes. As far as how it affects technical SEO, I really don't know. I really don't know what to expect yet because I don't understand it well enough to offer any kind of insight. But what I've definitely already seen is a huge effect on the amount of people using content and the way they're using content. And I think at some point the search engines are going to have to accept that content is going to be made with AI if they want to have anything left to index, you know?
Got it. So you're talking about that. I mean, because Google is also working on the same concept right now, that they have
Yeah.
come up with Bard and they expect people to use Bard to generate content, which eventually will go on their blogs. So
Yeah.
they're already accepting the fact that it's rolling in, and they would eventually be indexing because majority of the content is on AI, so they cannot escape anything.
Yeah.
right? That's what your take is.
Yeah, and I also think that Google is going to, I think blog type sites are going to really suffer. I think Google is going to more and more answer the question for people right in the SERP via their AI or via whatever
True.
means they use to get it. So I think blog type sites and affiliate type sites are, they're never going to go away, but I do think they're going to have to find ways to adapt because Google will just take their information and display it and not give them any credit for it.
Got it. So do you suggest them having, let's say, their own YouTube channel, their
Yep.
podcast, I mean, other properties of Google so they can like
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even have to
have,
be a property of Google, but that should be the case even if AI, even if like sites were doing well. Like, why not have all of that? You know what I mean? Like, have as big a
got
footprint as possible. But yeah, I do see that getting to be a problem for like affiliate or like niche sites that just rely on ads and stuff. In particular, I think are going to have a hard time because I think Google, and you can kind of see it if you search anything now. Like they
yes.
just extract that information and just give it to people. So like it's almost like a post website era to some extent. So
Mhm.
you're gonna have to optimize for that more so than for the click. That's just my
Got it.
opinion, but I
Got it.
definitely see that getting worse rather than better if you view it as a bad thing, which I assume most of us do.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And coming to niche sites, right? Of course, that's a topic which is discussed. Do you think I mean, of course, people are making money off niche sites. There are on Twitter, if you go and see, everyone is a niche site expert. And
Yeah,
so,
Twitter in particular
what
is
do you
bad for
think?
that.
Yeah. So, what do you think are the top five things you require to kind of build a good niche site? Of course, that should be driven by SEO, primarily traffic. And because that will be eventually not, of course, we know that Google is eventually going to get those answers on the rich snippet, but
Mhm.
anyways, they can make money, sustainable income from niche sites. Top five your own ways which you would use to grow niche sites from scratch.
I mean, I don't know about top five, but I mean, content is really important. Answering questions with content works really well because there's like how to do blank with blank type terms don't show
Correct.
a lot of search volume, but they tend to
True.
get a lot of search volume and they tend to be high quality traffic and they tend to be easier to
Mhm.
pick off. So I think making as many of the list every possible question you can think of, maybe use AI to generate the questions and then write the content. I think that's a big one. I think you can utilize well, it's kind of not what you ask, but I think parasite type sites work really well. So if you're
Mm.
going to get like a Outlook India type of blog, it's not a blog, but like a post on those are going to rank better than your site, no matter what you do. So you
Got it.
can, that's another way to monetize. Understand that you are going to have to buy some links, whether that hurts the white hat's feelings or not. Like you are going to have to buy some links if you want to compete, or you can choose to not compete and not make as much money. That's up to you, but you got to have a link strategy and then from there it's just a matter of like the right topics and stuff that you have a shot in because like best weight loss pills is probably not something most of us want to go after, but
True.
you have to really dig down and find good niches and go after them and just have a strong content plan and go from there.
Mm. Correct. And even if you want to use AI for that, you can use it because anyway, if you have to scale the traffic, you cannot do it manually. Or else you have to pay for the content writers, which eventually they are using ChatGPT for content creation anyways.
Yeah,
Right. Got it.
yeah. I
And
mean
coming,
there's still some value I think in using content writers because I think especially if you can
yes.
find ones that are experts in your particular niche, but it's do be aware that a lot of them are just going to use AI to create it too. So
True. Correct. So, anyways, you can cut the middleman, like if you have to go that route. But again, as you mentioned, these guys, ChatGPT, write like Wikipedia, and they write in a structured manner.
yeah,
If you have to get a quality stuff article which ranks faster and has long form content, I think you should go with writers
yep.
which know and have their own niches.
Well, and
That's
like
it.
those AI tools can't write actual copy, in my opinion, at least not from what I've seen. Like copy that actually persuades people to buy
Okay.
things. I could be wrong about that. I'm sure somebody that watching this will go like, well, actually, but like in my opinion, it can never truly understand human psychology and what's going to get them to pull out their credit card the way that a
True.
good writer can. So
True.
that's important too. Like we in the SEO tend to focus on getting the content that'll rank. You make the right H tags and interlink it, and all that stuff's
Yes.
important. But and then we ignore the part that actually where the content actually sells something. And I don't think maybe I don't want to say never because who knows, but it's definitely not there yet to where it can write stuff that will sell things.
True. True. Correct, because eventually, I mean, you have to like go ahead and write stuff which people resonate to. AI, I mean, if you can see AI writing and human writing like from
Yeah,
far away, we can see what AI has written, what human has written. So, anyways, it's going to be visible from the reader's point of view.
I think
Great.
so.
Talking about H1 tags and everything, so we can come to technical SEO, which a lot of people ignore because they have been taught in a certain way that only backlinks matter for your site and you have to go forward and create backlinks, which is again a myth, right? Backlinks is important, but what's more important is the user experience and the how your website performs and how your website runs. So, what do you think? We have been seeing screenshots of people just sharing the speed. That my speed is this much now. I rank on. So I don't require backlinks. I've got all of the traffic without a backlink. So do you think there's truth in that, or you really require backlinks which are authoritative and they can make a dent, or just
Yeah,
technical SEO would work?
I
What do you
don't
say?
agree that I don't agree that you don't need backlinks, because and I know a lot of people do that. I think that having great content and like well written and well optimized content is great. Site speed, in my opinion, is not a ranking factor at all, but it's still important because you still want a site that runs well. But that's not nearly as important. And people that, for whatever reason, that people they really want to be in one camp or another, like it's a sports game or something. Like
Mm,
if you can, why is it okay? Why are you proud of ranking without links when you can rank faster with them, or you can still rank with
yeah.
them? Like, why is one better than the other? Figure out what works for you and do it. In my opinion, you need
Mm,
content that will help the search engine understand your site, and then you can use links to get the rest of the way there. So if you like write your content well enough and interlink it well enough, maybe you end up on low page one, maybe page two. That's why you need links. So rather than wait 6 months, I would rather buy one guest post or PBN link and get it done. So I guess that answered your question. I'm not 100% sure.
yeah. No, of course you answered it very, very precisely because that's what people don't want to hear. They wish
Yeah.
to hear that, give us good answers of what's important to us, and they would just take in that and put into use. But what's more important is to understand the truth and the real things. That
Yeah.
whatever works for you, you should do it. At the end of the day, your target is to like get to the SERP and get the traffic.
I
So
would
and
even
you
take it one step further. And if you're doing SEO for like a client and there's a way for you to get more results and you choose not to do it, you're being unethical rather than being ethical. Because like
true.
a lot of people, particularly, I don't want to pick on them, but particularly like white hats, they think that you can't use links or can't pay for links or because it's unethical are wrong. What's unethical is somebody's paying you money to get a result and you have a way to get that result and you choose not to do it because you think you invented in your mind that there's something wrong with it when there's not. Now, there are things you shouldn't do. You shouldn't hack, or you shouldn't do illegal things. There's literally no difference between using a link to help push your ranking and optimizing your page to help push your ranking. There's nothing immoral about either of those. The only thing is immoral is not getting a result.
Got it. And correct, I mean, because we've seen people saying that, and that's not doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And they're just lazy. I mean, they're just lazy to build things. They think it's gonna take time. It's gonna take us months to do that. So who's gonna do that? Let's take the shortcut and let's get to the top.
Yeah.
That's what they're up to. Great. So one question came from bloggers as well. As you mentioned, that bloggers, the sites are going to be, of course, the sites are not going to get much traffic. So apart from what we discussed, it's YouTube and all the other sites or publishers. What do you expect them to do apart from just blogging? I mean, should they go ahead and start doing anything apart from SEO? Because what they say to me is, I only do this blogging part. I can only write. I
Mhm.
cannot do anything else apart from this. So how do you assure that they make more money? I mean, do they start an agency? Do they start giving out in-building services, or how can an SEO who is threatened, according to them, by AI can make more money in the upcoming years?
It just depends on their preferences and what they want to do. The great thing about it is there's a lot of ways you can go about it, right? You can, if you want to stick to blogging, you can use other traffic sources, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, YouTube. If you want to just make money with SEO and you don't care, you can do an agency. I'm not a big fan of agency anymore because I just don't really want to deal with clients. There's excuse me, there's lead gen,
So
there's rank and rent, all these different ways you can go about it. But of course, freelancing has been very, very good to me, selling services and saying things like that. And if you want to go, if you have some capital, you can get into software, you can get into training. It really just depends on what you like to do. But if you are afraid that what you're doing isn't going to be sustainable, try a little bit of everything, figure out what feels best to you, what you're best at, and just do that. There's no one thing that says you have to do this or that or whatever. Like, don't label yourself, just do what works.
True. Makes sense. Again, a lot of people had discussed about the Google updates which came out. I mean, EAT came out like months ago, but many of them don't even understand still that what's EAT is going to do to your website or what you should do to kind of adhere to the Google update. So can you like let people know what actually EAT is, and how like can they use it, or how can they leverage what EAT is asking you to do, which is experience and bring in that depth in your articles, so that they can kind of structure their articles in a manner that they don't need to rewrite it again and again according to Google's demands, and they rank faster compared to if they don't adhere to the algorithm update.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that the importance of eat is overstated. So just know that that's the perspective I'm coming from.
Got
But
it.
I think that if you can just write, if you can prove that you know what you're talking about and not actually try to trick the search engine to thinking you know what you're talking about, I think that's really the way to go. So experience means that if you suppose you have like a review site, you actually buy the thing and review, like use it and review it, as opposed to do what we all have done and all used to do, where we, buy it and just make shit up. Pardon my language. I don't know if I can swear or not.
Sure. Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
No worries.
just, and just make shit up because that's what we've all used to do with our review sites. At least I certainly did. I think that I think Google is smart enough to be able to understand that. So if you're capable of doing that, do that. I think that kind of goes hand in hand with expertise and authoritativeness.
Yeah,
I've always
yeah,
struggled with that word, and really all of them. Like if you can just know what you're talking about and be genuine, I think that's going to work better. Not only is it going to work better for search engines, I think it's going to work better on people. Because like I can read a review and know that the person writing it has never done what they're talking about.
got it.
And that's my opinion on that. Having said that, I wouldn't I wouldn't bust my ass trying to get all these little things right, like the author bio and all that. You can do all that, but get everything else done first. The schema for your author and all these other like technical things. Those are like tiebreakers, in my opinion, more so than like top tier things that you have to do. Other people are going to disagree, and that's fine, but that's how I look at it.
Correct. It's, I mean, every answer, I mean, because every answer is coming from experience. That's what I also believe. That whatever people answer, some of it come from experience, right? Because you're doing it day in, day out. You know what's working for you, and that should be your own kind of
I
stuff.
also
And
have
that's the better way.
I also have an advantage that some people don't, in that I get to see thousands of other people the way they're doing SEO
Yes.
because what I see through Legit. Now I don't go
Yeah.
in, I don't see everything everybody does, but I do see what people are doing and what our more successful customers and freelancers are doing. So I get insight even into things that I don't do myself. So just
Correct. Yeah, makes complete sense. Makes complete sense. And of course, by EAT, I mean a lot of people think that they have to kind of get their domain authority up and then PR. I mean that's not the thing. That's of course that's the old kind of stuff, right, which you have to get done. And having that isn't the only criteria for you to rank,
right.
but having that is an add-on. It's not kind of the mandatory thing for EAT. It's the your content is the primary thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going after.
And when you say domain authority, I think it's important to establish you don't mean the Moz metric DA. You mean the authority of your domain. I've
Yes.
always hated that that's the term that they chose, because now I can't
Correct.
talk about authority without people thinking that that's what I mean, because I don't, because you can buy a service and push that number up and it means absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
But you can make your site have actual authority where people do it. If I go to like, I don't, this is a terrible analogy, but if I go to like ESPN, I know that they know about sports. They're an authority on sports. So their domain should
Yes.
rank for sports stuff. That's kind of what I
Correct.
mean when I say authority. But unfortunately,
Correct.
Moz used that term in their software, and now it's like people get confused.
Correct. Moz uses it, and Ahrefs has its own stuff, and then
Yeah.
SEMrush has their own stuff. So no
Well,
one that
and
number doesn't make
to
sense.
be fair to them, as someone who's developed software, I've learned that people love a score. So, like
Yeah.
if that's to anybody out there that wants to do SEO software, build in a score that people can try to improve, and they will go nuts for it. So, I get why they do that from a marketing perspective, but to me, those numbers are, and most people that know what they're talking about will agree that those numbers are. I don't want to say they're useless, but they're not that useful.
Yeah. Yeah, same goes for Yoast, right? Yoast has the WordPress thing going. If you have green, which means you're
Mhm.
doing good. If you have, like, otherwise, if you're in red, you're screwed. That's what they
Yeah,
say.
yeah, exactly. And I get why they do that too, because not only is it a good marketing tool, but it's
Yes,
for the lowest common denominator. That's really helpful for people that really have no idea what they're doing.
correct.
That's helpful. But people look at it the wrong way, and then they'll try to like manipulate that and go
Mhm.
like for example, I once had a client, a customer, one of my freelance customers, who we built him a few links and his Google ranking took off, but he didn't like the service because it didn't increase his DA at all. Like, so you
Yeah,
get my point.
they manipulated. I mean, everyone has told them. Every other SEO agency have told them that this is what matters.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't have that growing, you don't have anything. Even if you are getting sales, even if you're getting leads, even if you're getting quality traffic, this doesn't increase. You know,
Funny
fire that
story,
guy.
actually. I maybe a month ago, I had like 4 or 5 in a day customers complain about how SEMrush was saying that the links were toxic links. And I tweeted at them and I tweeted and said, the SEMrush toxic link score is completely useless. And they actually replied to me. They're very good at replying on Twitter, by the way. And
Yes.
they said something to the effect of, it doesn't affect Google ranking. It's just a way to get you to go look at it. So they even admitted that that's not a factor. So I got them to do that. And I have that tweet saved in case it ever comes
Just
up.
send us a screenshot to the client. Like whenever you're onboarding them, just
Yep.
say we are using this software and this software says this. So if it
Yeah.
doesn't increase, you don't need to panic.
Yeah. So
Got it. Makes sense.
yeah.
Amazing. So you're doing great on YouTube. I mean, you're amazing on YouTube. So YouTube SEO is something which needs to picked up on because the creators need to diversify their viewership and get more new traffic. So what are your thoughts on YouTube SEO? Because we have got a lot of people who want to start videos, but they think that only if they share it on social, they can get some traffic and views. But accordingly, they should also rank on the YouTube search engine so they
Hmm.
can get new visitors from there, apart from just getting the repeat viewers. So, what are your YouTube strategies? Someone new
Okay.
person can go and
First
apply.
of all, I have a feeling the real reason those people are like hemming and hawing and not doing it is because they're afraid to get on camera more than anything. That's the number
Yeah,
one thing I see that keep people from doing YouTube. Because like people will come to me and go, man, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you're so brave. I don't know how you get nervous. I was like, I do get nervous. I just do it anyway. And it's really not that bad. Like it doesn't have to be well produced, whatever. Just turn on the camera and start talking. And then as far as getting traffic from it, there's different ways you can go. There's a couple different ways you can go about it. You can rank in YouTube search, which is what I tend to focus on because I don't like and I'll get into that in a second. I don't like the other way that you have to go about it. But you can do that by optimizing the on page for it, like you would a website, not quite like a website, basically like you would with a website 10 years ago, where you can get away with
yeah,
like keyword at the top, keyword in the description, keyword at a few times in the description, keyword in the tag, kind of like old school SEO where you can, I don't want to say stuff it, but like you don't have to be quite as clever. So you can do that. And then there's things like, there's a great service I use on Legit, shout out there, that does like the CTR traffic. CTR means click through rate. I know you know that, but for other people watching, and like the watch time and subscribers and comments, those things all help rank in YouTube search. So I've been able to outperform channels that are much bigger than me by doing those things. That's one way you can go about it, and that's the way that most people that are watching this are probably better served. The other way to go about it is like clickbait and catchy titles and thumbnails that are like, I don't want to say misleading, but borderline misleading. That's how you get into suggested views and
yeah.
all those other things that YouTube does. And that will get you more than doing search will. But
Mm.
I just hate that because that's not who I am. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, you won't believe what happened next. That type of thing. You know what I mean? If you want
I
to see
made
a good example,
$100,000 in
yeah,
10 minutes.
yeah, exactly. If you want to see a good example of that type of YouTube SEO, check out Chase Rainier. I don't know him that well, but he's very good at that. Like this is how you can make $2,432 in 10 minutes with AI type of thing. He's very good at that. I don't like that type of YouTube. It's worked for me. I did one back in like November where it was I said Elon Musk banned my Twitter in the first day he took over, and it was a picture of him with like a tuxedo on and me being all upset, and it caught the algorithm better than any video I've done in a long time. And the whole point of the video,
Yeah.
by the way, was to prove that clickbait works because like it didn't actually happen. So my point is that stuff works too. if you are fine going that way. I think people that are watching this are going to be better off learning how to do
Yeah,
YouTube SEO. And
yeah,
I'm going to plug something here if you don't mind. If you go over
sure.
to Legit Courses, there is a course on there that's completely free that will teach you how to do YouTube SEO the same way I do it and that I have
Great.
success with. So check that out, legit.com/courses.
Sure. We'll link it up in the description. Again, that's great strategy. I think that should be done. Good content would eventually be shared, eventually be commented on, eventually be liked and viewed. So, anyways, it will rank upon.
Right.
So of course, those clickbait titles can be tried one time just to like have some experiments going on because you're a marketer,
Yeah.
anyways. So you
I mean,
can
you can,
try it
yeah.
out, but
I
don't
mean,
make
you
it
can
your
go that
channel
route if you
identity.
want to. It's just, I
Yeah.
prefer not to. You know what I mean? One thing about me is like, I don't care what other people do. If they do, they can do
Mm.
what they do want, and if it works for them, that's great. As long as it doesn't like affect, as long as it's not too unethical. A lot of
True.
people in SEO tend to get hung up on how other people are doing it. I'd like to do mine via YouTube SEO rather than clickbait shit. Again, part of my language, but there's nothing wrong with doing it that way either, as long as you're not straight out lying. So
True, true. So even if you're doing it, make sure that the video has the content which you promised
yeah,
and is very much ethical. So users don't get, you know, you just if they just come in and they start your video, they shouldn't be like, oh, you didn't promise that.
yeah.
I'm going back. So
Well,
that
that's
would
going to
give you
hurt
a
YouTube
negative.
SEO too. So yeah. So and now
Correct.
you can get clever with it. Like you can be like, is this the end of SEO? And like that's your title. And then in the beginning of
Yeah.
the video, just say, no, it's not the end of SEO. Technically, technically you have answered the question. And then just talk about
Yeah.
something else entirely. So,
Yeah.
I don't recommend that, but that's one way you can go.
Yeah, yeah, but you answered the question because I mean,
Yeah.
anyways, you asked this, you can have a question mark, right?
Yep.
So you even anyways, you're asking the question to the end user and you're
Yeah.
answering it.
That's still going to
That's a good
irritate people
strategy.
though.
Yes. But don't make those clickbait strategies, I mean, let's say if
Yeah.
you're a new guy and you're making that I made $24,000 with SEO and all of that. Don't do that. That's
Yeah.
kind of
Don't.
very cringe.
Yeah. Even when I legitimately do an income thing and I show the income, like, because I don't do that much because I don't like
Yeah.
talking about income. But the few times I have done that, it's been genuine and I still get a lot of people pissed about it. Like, and say I'm a scammer and lying and all that stuff. I literally take them inside my accounts and show the amount of money. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. You haven't photoshopped. You just didn't go and have an
Anybody that's ever
inspect
seen the
agreement.
thumbnails that I make, know I didn't Photoshop it. I don't do a little Photoshop. But for whatever reason, like that just irritates people. So I don't even do it because frankly, I don't like it either. And maybe I'm just old fashioned, but I think my income is really nobody's business.
Yeah,
So
it's nobody's business, really. I
yeah,
mean, what you make is your subjective, right? You have done it from your own work. Anyone who's required to do the work can achieve it if they do the work,
yeah.
and that's the terms and
And
conditions.
also with legit, like first of all, I have partners, so I think it's unethical for me to show like what we're making
Yeah,
because I'm showing what they're making that way too. But also like a lot of that revenue is not mine to show because like the way I see it is the freelancers are the one making the money and we just get a little fee for helping them do it. So it's really their income that I'm showing, and I feel like showing somebody's income without their permission is inappropriate. So
agreed. Great. Yeah, that's a good thing. I think you've kind of wrapped it of what should be the strategy for YouTube. And anyone who's seeing it, if you have more questions about YouTube SEO, you can go ahead and put in the description. Chris is in the group; he can answer it whenever he gets time.
yeah,
So
happy to
that's
help.
okay. That's okay. Great, thank you so much. So yeah, Chris, I think one more thing was
Sure.
regarding the Harrow, hire a reporter out. So that thing which is, on the internet, a lot of people do it. But again, the legit SEO, I mean, people who are new or their medium category that aren't aware about these Harrow or, kind of getting the links from journalists
Mhm.
and adding them to the network. So do you think Harrow is still a service which someone should consider for link building? Or it's something we just think of the past. And right now, any link you build, I think you can do it from your own stuff, from Outreach, or Harrow can be used in
Okay.
even today's time.
Well, first of all, there's a dude that watches all of my live streams that's always asking me to talk about Harrow. So I hope to God he sees this because I never do. And like it gets to the point where I get annoyed with him and I don't mean to. Every time he's asking about it. So I hope that he sees this. But anyway, for those that are watching that don't know, Harrow stands for Help a Reporter Out, meaning
Yeah,
that there's at least in theory, there's a reporter out there that's looking for a source for a story. And in exchange for that, what they'll do is link to your site or whatever. Having said that, I do think it works to a point, but I think that it's gotten to the point where it's the same like 10, every service you use uses the like same 10 sites. It's like Databox
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I can't even think of the others. There's like a college one. And there's like Turkle. There's like 10 or 12 sites that they use. And it's getting to the point where those aren't as effective. Now, if you can get a genuine link from someone, that's really powerful. And the other thing I don't like about them is that you always have to target the homepage more or less of your site, more or
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
And you usually have to use branded anchors. And so
Yeah.
it's good for building up the power of your domain. But once you've done 5 or 10 of those, I don't think the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And if you're paying someone else to actually do them for them, they tend to be really expensive. So I
Agreed.
would I would start by doing that if it's going to be a big enough site. I would start by doing it myself, like actually signing up for. It's like I forget their domain is weird. It's like helpareporterout.org or something. But signing up and actually sending in the pitches yourself and doing
Yeah.
that, it's a pain in the butt. It takes a long time to do, but every once in a
Correct.
while you can get a really powerful link. But for the most part, you're going to end up with the same handful of sites over and over and over again. At least that's been my experience, and that's why I haven't been focusing on it as much as I was a year ago, because like I was
Got it.
getting the same ones over. I must have gotten 10 links from Databox, which is a good site, but like the other thing is they tend to, instead of like doing truly sources, they're doing these roundup posts where they link to
Mm.
like 30 different like experts, and it's really just anybody that submitted a pitch. You know what I mean? And they don't even
Correct.
verify it. Like I had somebody doing it for me, and they were just making up shit that I never said just to get me into the post and get me a link. So I don't know. There's value to it,
Yeah.
and you should definitely do it, but you should be aware of the pitfalls of it and the cost of it too.
Correct. And even with Harrow, I think the thing is, if you should be very lucky, kind of to get a good website and a good journalist,
Yep.
to work with. And you talked about brandable anchors. I mean, again, that's something you should do when you have grown up, when you have
Mm-hmm.
enough traffic coming in from SEO, because then you're not worried about that. If we get the ranking or the ranking choose from that particular keyword anchored, apart from just the brand being anchored, right?
Yeah.
Brand anchored is your just
Yeah.
homepage.
Yeah. It's more like Hero links are better for building domain authority and trust than they are for like pushing individual ranking. So like that's the other thing that's one of the reasons I've never chose to sell them. Because I feel like most people that buy them aren't going to understand that. And they're going to be like, I bought these really expensive links from you and it didn't do anything. It's like, you're not going to it's not like a PBN link or a guest post where I can optimize it and link to a specific page on your site. It's to increase the overall effectiveness of the rest of your SEO. And
Mhm.
I kind of get where they're coming from too, because those links tend to be
Yeah,
really expensive.
yeah,
So that's one of the reasons I've never got into it. But I do use them. It's just once you've done enough of them, you don't need to keep doing it, in my opinion.
true, true. And do you still believe in PBNs?
Absolutely. Yeah. They're still my favorite kind of link because they're like, first of all, they're much more cost effective and time effective than guest posts are.
Yeah.
And more than anything, you can mold them to be whatever you want. You can make a site that used to be about dogs be about boxing. You know what I mean? And then you can
Yeah.
pass relevance via the posts and things like that. And they're cheaper, they're effective. The reason that they got a bad reputation, one is from the white hat purity ponies. And then the other
Mm.
one is because most people that do them don't know what the hell they're doing and they do them wrong. If you do them right, they're, in my opinion, still the most powerful type of links.
Wow. So, I mean, you have never been like shot up by Google or ever they had an eye on your website, like because you're doing PBN,
No, I
or you
have
get
probably a
dodged
thousand. I
it.
probably have 1,000 in my network, give or take. And we haven't
Wow.
lost one in years. The only time we ever lost one is like if I forgot to renew the hosting or something. I haven't gotten I haven't gotten a Google penalty on one in years, like probably 7 years.
Wow.
So
Then we should do another session on PBN specifically, because I mean, you're the first one I'm hearing about which I've said like Google has done nothing, and it's very
well,
tough to kind of go through that network, like, honestly.
the people that are losing them are people that don't know what they're doing. Like I hate to be that cold about it, but like
Yeah.
if you know what you're doing, you're not going to get caught. So having said
Correct.
that,
See,
you still have to like pick the right ones because I do have like there's somebody in particular I have in mind, but if you get them where they have a footprint or where they have too many outbound links or too many posts or the posts don't stay on the homepage and all these other things, if you do those wrong, they either won't do anything or they'll be harmful. But if you do them right, they're still the most powerful link. And if you think about it, what's the difference between a PBN and a guest post? Nothing.
yeah.
Not
Yeah,
really.
yeah,
I mean,
correct.
really, most guest posts are glorified PBNs at this point. So a
True.
link is a link. It's just a matter of building it the right way.
True. I mean, they're just synonyms or the, kind of the mirror of each other, like, because
Mhm.
that, I mean, you're going ahead, you're kind of thinking to your own sites or to other sites, but when you're going for guest posting, I mean, it's still legit. According to Google, it's legit, but PBN is not legit, but they're
Yeah.
the same things. Yeah. Again,
Well,
it's the
Google has a
policy of
vested
Google.
interest in you not doing SEO too. They just want you to, and you know what? As someone that owns a platform, I've come to appreciate their point of view on that a lot more. Because like we get
Yeah.
a lot of people, and I'm kind of plugging myself here, but we get a lot
Of
of people
course. Go ahead.
that sign up to legit and are like, "How does your algorithm work?" Like I'm not going to just tell you. Like, just make a great service and take care of your customers. So, and the first time I said that, I was like, "Man, I sound like legit," or I sound like Google saying, "Just make
Yeah.
great content." But like now, I
Yeah.
kind of get where they're coming from. So I'm not saying you should ignore them, but you should consider their perspective when you take into account what they say and how often they contradict themselves.
Okay, I mean the Twitter guy, John Mueller, I think he's the guy who kind of contradicts himself
Yeah, John's
whenever he
actually
kind of,
seems like a really nice guy, but like
yeah, he is.
he,
But the advice he gives is not something you should, yeah, bank upon and
yeah. Well,
follow
and
blindly. You should
truthfully,
do your
like
own
not to
research.
devil's advocate them again, them being Google, but like I doubt they even fully understand how their algorithm works anymore. Like because it's like it's probably one of the most complex pieces of software ever written, if you think about it. So I get what they probably don't even know 100% what works. That's just I don't have anything to back that up, but like that's my opinion. So
Correct. And I mean, I think you would also get traffic from Bing, right? You're getting traffic from
oh
Bing
yeah, yeah. Like
alternatively.
if you optimize for Google, usually you'll end up ranking in Bing too. And like we like it legit gets quite a bit of traffic from Bing. How well it converts, I
Mhm.
don't really know. I haven't ever bothered to track that because it's not enough to really dig into that data. But yeah, definitely don't ignore it. And a little trick is Bing ads work really, really well. And they're way cheaper than Google ads.
Correct.
And it's
Yes.
very similar, like the interface, but it's like easier. So that's
Correct.
it's an untapped traffic source, in my opinion.
Correct. And I think because even the demography is different from Bing. I mean, we have seen a lot of older people who were from the Microsoft era there. They're still going for Bing
Mm-hmm.
because they have that search thing going on. So yes, many, like the rest of them use Google, many of them use Bing because they're
Mm-hmm.
used to Bing's strategy and everything. And they also came up with the chat thing,
Yeah.
ChatGPT included, like on the right side. So
Yeah.
that kind of gets into that's built in from
Yeah.
their
Well,
own stuff.
also
So
Bing, honestly, like their algorithm is nowhere near as good, but
yeah, of
everything else
course.
they do is very good. Their image, like
Yes.
the interface is better, their image
Yes,
search is better. Like if they had a better
correct.
algorithm, they'd have a real shot. And I admired them so quickly going after chat, like to work with chat GPT, because like that was them like finally shooting their shot. It doesn't seem like it's going to work,
Yes,
but like I appreciated that they were trying to like take a shot at it.
yes, exactly, exactly. And Microsoft is kind of trying to push in already. They have invested a lot of money, so they have to use it in their own products. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
they won't be able to show the output of what's going to produce.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work,
Amazing.
but like
Yeah, yeah,
I think it is. Even if it's like 10 or 15% of search, that's still a lot of people. So like,
yeah. A lot
why
of
ignore
people.
that? Especially because their algorithm is so easy to beat. So
True. Makes sense. Amazing. Amazing. Great. So, Chris, that's all the questions we had from the users and from our people. And I
okay,
think your answers will make them like make the enlightenment coming in because they want to hear it from you and they've heard it from you. And we'll be kind of pushing it live on the group on the YouTube channel, and they can ask questions or follow-up questions. And I'll tag you whenever you get time to answer. You can answer. There's no hurry.
yeah, of
Definitely
course, I'm
no
happy
hurry.
to.
uh, Amazing. So thank you so much, Chris, for your time, for your precious time. We took around 40 minutes, so hope it was amazing. And thank you so much for answering questions. Kind of made our day. Like that's what you want to
Awesome.
say.
Yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. We'll have to do it again sometime.
Again, thank you. And we will do it specifically on PBN because I want to know what you're doing right now, and you're
Yeah,
dodging
I'm
stuff
happy
out.
to. Yeah, happy to talk
So
about it
that's
whenever.
amazing. Okay, thank you, Chris. And again, once you get this recording to me, I'll edit it and kind of push it live and let you know when I do that.
Okay, yeah, and I'll share it around when that happens. It'll
Amazing.
take probably 5-10 minutes for it to render, and then I'll just
Yeah.
upload it and I'll send it over to you, and you can edit it
Perfect.
however you want.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Thank
what's
you
your
so
YouTube
much.
what's your YouTube channel? I'll check it out now.
I'll give you my link in the Zoom chat.
Okay.
sent to you. You can copy it if you want.
Oh, okay. Well, that was easy enough.
Um, sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'll
It's
check that
kind
out.
of still growing it, but yeah, making it
My channel's
happen.
pretty small too. For as long as I've been doing this, I should be a lot further along because I'll go really hard on it for a while, and then excuse me, I'll go years without doing a video. So like I've been doing it since 2016, and I only have 14,000 subscribers. So
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And kind of when you do that, right? People go and watch it. That's when you get the kick in, right? People are watching it content. They anticipate that something is coming from Chris, or something is coming from an authority. They kind of go and watch it. So it's going to happen.
yeah, definitely. Cool. Well,
All
I'll
right.
send this over to you as soon as it gets ready, and we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Chris. It was great knowing you. Great talking to you. And I'm just DM away from anything. And yep. All right.
All right. Sounds good,
Thanks
my
so much
friend.
for your time.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.